Hi, I'm Holly Kovo from Fitting Fitness In. I'm a personal trainer and nutrition specialist, and welcome to Get Healthy with Holly. In this episode, we're going to talk about sarcopenia. What is sarcopenia? Well, that is the loss of muscle mass and strength commonly associated with aging, but it's not just aging, it's also inactivity. And what's the solution to sarcopenia? Resistance training, and you can do resistance training at any age. Let's talk about muscle loss. And I have a nice slide that's coming up, and it talks about how resistance training can help you maintain muscle mass. Muscle mass decreases approximately 3 to 8% per decade after the age of 30. And this rate of decline is even higher after the age of 60. Normal muscle, if you look on the side here, the left side, normal active muscle is great, nice and full, big muscle cells. Well, when you have inactivity, you're going to have a loss of muscle or a loss of muscle mass called atrophy, and then that makes it a little more condensed and less cells. And if you add that to aging and inactivity, then you're going to lose cells, and that's called sarcopenia. So in this is a great diagram because you can see what normal active muscle looks like. Now, you don't have to look like that aging and inactivity because you can continue to strength train throughout your life, and that will maintain your muscle mass. Now, what are the impacts of muscle loss? Well, there's an increased risk of falling, and the leading cause of injury or death in older adults is falling. It can be limited mobility because it leads to a loss of independence when you're not strong enough to do all the activities of daily living. It compromises your heart health. Remember, your heart is a muscle. And it restricts your metabolism, so it leads to weight gain and increased fat. Because the more muscle you have on your body, the higher your metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the more you're going to burn calories. It also increases your risk of insulin resistance. It gives you more complications when you're in the hospital, and additional complications of respiratory issues. And lastly, muscle loss shortens your life expectancy. If these aren't the reasons to start lifting weights and getting stronger, I don't know what is. But the next slide shows that you need to find the right exercise for you, because I want you to do strength training at least 2 times a week and preferably 3 times a week to maintain and build muscle. Now, that may be like the lady in the middle lifting weights, but it may be like the people in the top doing Pilates and work on the ball. And it may be using those resistance band or even a suspension strap. Whatever you use, and I would suggest a variety and try a bunch of all different ones, whatever you do, just make sure you're doing that strength training at least twice and preferably 3 times a week. Now, after you do that strength training, the other thing that's really important to help you with your muscle mass is protein, eating protein. And there are multiple ways that you can get your protein, and I'm going to show you a whole bunch of ways of getting protein in today. I have lots of protein foods here today. And why do we want protein? Well, because eating protein gives you powerful benefits to your muscles, especially as you age, especially if you're active, and you want to be an active ager. Protein helps with muscle repair and growth. It supplies the amino acids that are the building blocks of our muscles, and they help repair after exercise, injuries, and even just daily wear and tear. So without enough protein, your recovery from a workout is going to slow down. It prevents muscle loss. So protein helps prevent the sarcopenia. A diet rich in proteins helps slow the loss and supports stronger muscles, healthier muscles, well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and your hundreds. So many people are making it into their hundreds now. Protein makes a big difference. It also helps improve your strength and performance. So when you pair resistance training with protein, it really boosts your muscle strength and endurance. And it helps make those everyday movements like bringing in the groceries, gardening, going up and down stairs. It helps make that easier to do. Also helps you recover faster after an exercise program. It supports lean muscle and not fat. So adequate protein encourages your body to build and maintain lean muscle rather than storing extra calories as fat on your body. And we certainly don't want that. And it helps with the metabolism, which will burn those extra calories. And it helps you with better bones and joint support. Protein works alongside strength training to maintain your bone density and your joint stability. And it reduces the risk of fractures and falls. And strong muscles protect your bones. I can tell, I probably mentioned this in past episodes, but I took a fall years ago on the ice and I came down right on my shoulder and dislocated my shoulder. So I got up and I just popped it back in. So when I went to the emergency room and I told him what I did, he said the reason you were able to do that is because you had so much muscle around that joint that the bone couldn't go very far. So that muscle prevented it from going far and causing more damage. And I just popped it back in. I mean, I had some other issues from that fall too, but that was a great thing. So in short, protein is your muscle repair crew, your fuel, and your insurance policy. It keeps you strong, functional, and independent later in life. And we all want that. So how much protein should we eat? Well, the general guidelines, that's the oven ready for us. The general guidelines are 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight per day, especially if you're active or you want to maintain or build muscle. You want to spread that across your meals and your snacks, probably 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal so that you absorb that protein all day long. How many types of protein are there? Well, there's a lot of protein. And let's talk about first animal-based protein. Eggs. Right here I have hard-boiled eggs. 6 to 7 grams of protein each. Eggs are easy to cook. They're easy to eat. You can cook them in the morning, scrambled eggs, fried eggs, hard-boiled eggs, throw those in a salad. They're really good to eat. And I'll talk a little bit about why cooked eggs are better than raw eggs. Chicken breast or turkey, like here, 25 to 30 grams of protein per 4-ounce portion of turkey or chicken. 4 ounces is about the size of your palm. Fish, salmon, tuna. We have some tuna fish over here. Cod, sardines. Sardines are really high in protein. They're a little salty for me, but they're high in protein. That's 20 to 25 grams per 4 ounces. Plus you get omega-3 fatty acids, which helps your brain and your joint health. So that's a big plus. Then you have lean beef, which is 22 to 25 grams per 4 ounces. Plus it gives you iron and vitamin B2, or B12. Then you have Greek yogurt, which we have over here. And Greek yogurt gives you 15 to 18 grams per 6 ounces, which is great for breakfast, great for snacks. Cottage cheese, 12 to 14 grams per half cup. And cottage cheese is really good because it's slow digesting. It digests very slowly so that you burn a lot of calories digesting it, and it keeps you full longer. And then we have milk. So normal milk is 8 grams per cup. This is Fairlife milk. I love this milk. It is 50% less sugar, and it is 50% more protein. So for this one 8-ounce cup has 13 grams of protein. So I use this in whatever I'm making, like when I made the chia pudding, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay, so here we are. Animal-based. We just talked about animal-based protein. We eat a lot of chicken. We don't eat a lot of red meat. I probably eat red meat maybe 3-4 times a year, if that. So we eat a lot of chicken, but it can get boring. So you have to try to mix it up with different things. So here I have 3 different ways to make these little chicken tenders, which I eat these a lot on my salad at lunch. So first we have a rub here. This is salt, pepper, and rosemary. And over here, I marinated this with olive oil, salt, pepper, and basil from my garden. And then I have here honey mustard. So 3 different ways. So if you're getting really bored with chicken, figure out different ways to cook it. And while we're doing that, let me get this in the oven. So let's move on to plant-based proteins. Lentils. Lentils are 18 grams per cooked cup. It's also rich in fiber. Now, you can get lentils in pasta. This is red lentil pasta. This is chickpea orzo. You can put in soup. Here's my Holly's helpful hint. When you're going to do like a lentil pasta or a chickpea pasta, it says to cook it for 7 to 8 minutes. I'm going to tell you, you take it off at 7. Don't cook it beyond 7 minutes, otherwise they tend to turn to mush. So we have these, but you also have, I haven't tried this yet, but this Brahmi protein pasta, it has 12 grams of protein per serving. So you can get protein that way. Chickpeas, garbanzo beans, they're 14 grams per cup. I think we have some chickpeas right over here. They're very versatile. You can throw them in soup, you can throw them in salad, you can make hummus out of them, you can bake them in the oven and flavor them, season them however you want. If you want them a little sweet, then season them with a little cinnamon. If you want them a little hot spicy, you can throw a little red pepper and maybe cumin on there and make it a nice snack. Quinoa. This is quinoa. I made this in my rice cooker. 8 grams of protein per cup of quinoa. Now, what I do with my quinoa is I add, this is crushed or chopped pistachio nuts. Even more protein, right? So I add that in and mix it up. Usually I do it when it's hot. This is cooler today because I cooked the quinoa last night. Try to get everything done. But you add that to it. And I would also add maybe some fresh thyme or basil and give it a little bit more pep, but also add to the protein count. Edamame. Edamame. These have 17 grams per cup. There's a lot. It's one of the best plant-based protein sources there is. And so I steamed these this morning. And you just crack it open and you eat the beans. Now you could also take these beans, put them on a cookie sheet in the oven and spice them up, season them up, just like we did the garbanzo beans, and that would be a great source as well. So these you just eat right from the pod. It's kind of fun opening them up and eating them. That's a great source. Then there's tofu or tempeh, and that has 10 to 20 grams per 4 ounces. So depending on whether you can do soy or not. Nuts and seeds. Well, we just did pistachio nuts right here. Nuts, pistachio nuts. Here's almonds. Here's chia seeds. What's that? This is the quinoa that's not cooked. So that is really good too. And beans. So we have our chickpeas, we have kidney beans, and we have black beans. Now, I always get the low salt, lightly salted, so that's good too. Now, for protein powder, I use this plant-based protein powder, COS. You can get it at Whole Foods. So 1 scoop is 20 grams. Oh no, 2 scoops is 20 grams. So 1 scoop is 10, 2 scoops is 20 grams, and then you can put this in your smoothie. Sometimes you end up having to use a smoothie with protein powder in order to get your 100 grams of protein a day. I know, don't freak out on that. I'll tell you how you can get to 100 grams of protein a day, but it is a lot. All right, other ways that we can eat more protein. You can eat high protein breakfast by having the Greek yogurt with some berries. You can have peanut butter toast. Okay, here's my peanut butter. You know my favorite peanut butter is Smucker's All Natural, and I mixed it up this morning. So this is one of the breakfasts that I have during the week. I have 3 different types of breakfasts that I will do. I will do peanut butter toast, and with that peanut butter toast, I will put, let me put this back. I will put some chia seeds. Now, it's important the order that you do it. Now, you can use your teaspoon or whatever, but I just kind of spread it on there. I find that it's better to put the chia seeds on top of the peanut butter versus on top of the fruit because it kind of falls off. So I will then do some strawberries, and let's just slice this up, and blueberries. Very colorful. And then I put some blueberries on top. Blueberry is really good for your brain, good for your eyes, good antioxidants, good all over. So I stuffed that on there. And look how colorful that is. It's tasty too. So usually I'll have 2 pieces, and the bread that I use is right here. This is Dave's Killer Breads. And we use the 60-calorie slices, the thin slice. So this is whole grains, and this is 3 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber. It has 80 milligrams of omega-3 and 12 grams of whole grains. So I like this. And because it's thin slice, it's only 60 calories. Whereas 1 slice of a thicker bread is 100 calories. So you can get 2 of these for 120 calories versus 2 of the other ones, 2 of the thicker slices at 200 calories. And then add all this good stuff. So that's one of my breakfasts. The other breakfast that I might do is I'll saute some spinach with tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and then I'll scramble eggs with it, and I'll put it on top of a piece of toast. Maybe I'll put a little bit of cheddar cheese, a little shredded cheddar cheese on there. That's number 2 breakfast. And then the 3rd breakfast I will do is I will take hard-boiled eggs, and I'll make some toast, put a little bit of cheese, and then I'll slice up the hard-boiled eggs on there. So with the hard-boiled eggs, a raw egg gives you 50% usable protein, but a cooked egg provides 90% usable protein. So when you hard boil an egg, what it does is it breaks down the protein and it rebuilds it so it's a much more complex protein, which requires your body to burn more calories as it's digesting it. So a hard boiled egg causes you to burn a lot of calories just to digest it. As a matter of fact, you burn more calories than the egg actually has. So hard-boiled eggs, really good protein to eat, especially if you want to be losing weight, if you're watching your weight. Okay, and then the other thing you can have for breakfast, so those are my 3 breakfasts, but sometimes I'll have chia pudding, and I can only have it in the morning for breakfast because chia seeds, oh my gosh, they're like caffeine to me. Chia seeds, the American Indians, back in the day, they used to have their messengers who are running from one tribe to the other eat chia seeds because it gives them a lot of stamina and endurance so they can run a lot longer. So I made this chia pudding last night. I made a double batch, but you can make a smaller batch, a 1 serving. So 1 serving would be a half a cup of milk, and of course I use this milk so it's even more protein. 4 teaspoons of chia seeds, and I put in a teaspoon of honey and then a little 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I mean, you could put more honey, but I don't really want it too sweet, and I like the vanilla taste. And the chia seeds, let's see, chia seeds, how much do they have? 6 grams of protein and 2 tablespoons. So with 4 tablespoons, you have 12 grams of protein. Now, you have to then mix it up, then let it sit for a few minutes, and then mix it up again because it kind of clumps. And then, here we'll do, it's kind of funny looking, it's sweet. Put a little bit more in there. And then we're going to add a little bit more of our, let me do this instead, of our strawberries. So I like to use my egg slicer to slice my strawberries. And then that comes out a lot nicer. You can kind of make a nice little pattern with them. And then some more blueberries. There you go. Top it off with something like that. So that's a great breakfast as well, or a snack. But again, I wouldn't have it past noon because it would keep me wide awake. As we found out when we had it for dessert one night. Okay, so these are great ways. This is breakfast, and these are also snacks. So let's talk about other high protein snacks. So maybe we want a little bit of apples with peanut butter. Again, peanut butter, my favorite peanut butter. But some apple slices with a little peanut butter on there is a great snack, especially for the kids when they get home from school. These are starting to turn a little bit because I cut them when we got here and then we had to set up. So that's great. You know, another thing you can put on top of your pudding is peaches. I went peach picking this weekend at Shelburne Farm, my favorite orchard in Stowe. These are the nice peaches, but do you know they have donut peaches? I'd never seen these before. They're shaped like a donut, and they're very sweet. They're delicious, donut peaches. Anyway, you could slice these up and put them on top as well, or even on your peanut butter and chia seed toast. So this is another great snack. So you see, there's a lot there. You can do protein bars. I like to tell my clients to use that sparingly because they usually have a lot of sugar. But these Nature Valley protein bars have 10 grams of protein, but they do have 5 grams of sugar. So you can use that sparingly. All right, have I hit everything here? The quinoa, yes. All right, so this was breakfast, and then peanut butter and apples is a great snack. You can do a low-fat cheese stick. You can do the edamame for a snack as well. And then a high-protein lunch, maybe the tuna fish, maybe turkey roll-ups on your salad, a quinoa salad with some turkey on there or grilled chicken. And then high-protein dinners, I would do like the quinoa with the extra pistachio, maybe lentil pasta, and chicken. So those are all the different types of proteins. But what would you want to do for a whole day? Let me give you a typical day where you can get a very high protein count in this day for good muscle health. Starting with breakfast at 25 grams of protein, 3 scrambled eggs, maybe sauteed with the spinach and mushrooms, 1 slice of whole grain toast, maybe with a little avocado spread on top, and a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. That's a great breakfast one. It's 25 grams. There you start off nice. Then mid-morning snack, 15 grams of protein, maybe a protein smoothie, 1 scoop of protein powder, a banana, half a banana, a tablespoon of peanut butter, and some unsweetened milk or regular milk. In this case, this, which adds even more protein to it. So that's a mid-morning snack at 15 grams of protein. Lunch, another 25 grams of protein, maybe grilled salmon. A 4-ounce filet is 24 grams right there. A side of quinoa, roasted vegetables, broccoli, carrots, or bell peppers, and some mixed greens with a little olive oil and lemon. And then an afternoon snack, cottage cheese, half a cup of cottage cheese with some sliced berries or apple on top, or peach. And that is another 12 grams of protein. And then we top it off with dinner at 25 to 28 grams of protein using grilled chicken breasts. 5 ounces is 28 grams. Maybe a baked sweet potato, some steamed green beans with almonds, which adds another 2 to 3 grams of protein. And then you total up 105 for the day. It's not easy getting to 100 grams of protein a day. And if you want to maintain muscle mass and you want to maybe lose some weight, 100 is the number you want to reach for. And it's hard to do that without doing a smoothie. So keep that in mind. So that's 105 grams for the day. All right, let's see how our chicken is doing. All right, so here's our chicken. It's all ready. This is the mustard chicken here. And then we have the olive oil, salt, pepper, and fresh basil here. And we have our rub, which is salt, pepper, and rosemary. Oh my goodness, boy, these smell really good. And being I was in food service, I'm just going to pop a few of these in to give it a little color. Here we go. Those are our 3 different types of chicken, all sorts of protein, helping you get to that 100 grams a day. All right, I'd like to thank you for joining me today. You're going to be able to find out information about any of these recipes that I used on my website, fittingfitnessin.com. And I want to thank you again for being here, and we'll see you next time on Get Healthy with Holly.